Hey friends.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Angela.
And we are
Midlife Cruising.
We are retired public servants that travel the world, and we take you along with us.
We just spent the last year living full-time on a cruise ship, and we thought let's share our about top 10 favorite or pros of living full-time on a cruise ship and our bottom 10 cons of living full-time on a cruise ship. It's always been my dream to live full-time on a cruise ship, and we gave it a year, tried it out, and now we're going to share our takeaways from that experience. We've always been a couple who makes lemonade out of lemons on a regular basis, and we will still continue to do so. And you'll be able to tell in our pros and cons just how we've made a lot of lemonade. Starting with number one, the biggest pro of living full-time on a cruise ship is
traveling and seeing the world. And boy, over this last year, we have seen a lot of the world.
Yes, for sure. And with that and living on a cruise ship, it takes away all the planning and logistics and figuring out where am I staying and what am I eating and where are we going. So it takes away all the logistics of planning. So that's a huge pro as well.
And on to the next, no cooking. Boy, that's nice. No planning, no going to the grocery store. What are we going to have to eat tonight? It's all done for you.
And even though I love cooking and the amount of times I've cooked in the last few weeks since we've been back, him going, this is so good, I kind of miss that. So I do miss it, but it's a pro that you don't really ever have to cook or plan anything coordinated with cooking.
I like just pushing the button on the cappuccino machine.
And that leads us into no cleaning. No vacuuming, no dusting. I do make our bed every morning when we got up when we were on a cruise ship, but I didn't have to clean. I didn't have to scrub the bathroom, no toilet scrubbing. So no cleaning was also a great pro of living on a cruise ship.
And how about the next one? Meeting people from different cultures. And one really comes to mind for me, and that is Japan. Wow, was my mind opened on this one. Aren't they amazing? What a great culture, so kind, courteous, professional, even down to the taxi cab drivers wearing like three-piece suits. Incredible.
I remember feeling that way in Peru as well. Everyone was just so sweet and kind, and just experiencing all the cultures and meeting people around the world was a huge pro for cruising full-time. So another pro, especially for me as an introvert, living on a cruise ship really stretched me socially. I had to get out of my comfort zone on a regular basis. I've always been okay with saying, hey friend, to everyone. As a school teacher, you see your students all over and teachers, and you always greet them. But going further and deeper was always a little harder for me. So it really stretched me socially. I made a lot of great friends, a lot of great connections, but it definitely stretches you socially.
Another great thing about living on a cruise ship is meeting new friends, and especially like-minded friends that love to travel. And we said this early on, that the people that you meet on the cruise ships, they would be ones to come and meet you in a place far away like Nicaragua.
It's funny, for years we'd invite people to come hang out with us, come join us in Nicaragua, and they're like, wait, what? But we said if we said it to any one of our friends on the ship, come hang out with us in Nicaragua, they'd be like, okay. So definitely like-minded people and creating bonds of a lifetime is a big one. Another big pro of traveling the world is the pies on the Trivial Pursuit game. I can pick green all the time because my geography has improved so much. You just, I don't know, you gain so much knowledge traveling. You learn about different cultures and religions and the politics of those countries and the foods and social norms. It's very educating. You get outside of your own bubble and you just learn and see a lot of people becoming more accepting, which is good. We've always felt that we're very good about being friends with all walks of life. I think it just makes you a better person, and it really just teaches you a lot.
And I think for me on this subject, it was China. What an incredible journey that we had there. 10 days that we spent in Beijing and Shanghai and taking the bullet train there. So it really opened our eyes and gave us 10 days, 238 hours to be precise, because you only get a 240-hour visa on their normal visas. So that was great to go and learn about their culture.
Yes, and then the next one that leads us to the inclusive pricing. When your food's included or your Wi-Fi or drinks or cleaning, you're not constantly figuring out the finances. So that all-inclusive price makes a big difference when living full-time on a cruise ship.
And our final pro about living on a cruise ship full-time is that we have built-in entertainment. No more worrying about what you're going to do Friday or Saturday night. It's all built in.
Yes, everything from trivia games to dance parties, it's already all scheduled and planned, and you can pick to join in what you want to do or not want to do. All the pros of living full-time on a cruise ship. And this could be a residential cruise ship. It could be doing several maybe world cruises or a few month-long cruises back to back. Those are the pros that we wanted to share with you about cruising full-time. Now, let's talk about the cons. Now, when you're on a cruise ship for a year, there's some things that are not quite what we expected, and that's what we're going to share next. So as far as cons, the biggest con for us was the food. I'm talking about redundancy, heavy on the carb family. If you're on a cruise ship, even really any cruise line, every month they're going to kind of start repeating. You start missing your favorites. They're not putting organic blueberries or spinach. I put spinach in our eggs every day. There's just some things you can't get, or if you do get them, they're frozen or they're not organic. And not to sound bougie, but the redundancy of food made it very difficult, and it also had a huge impact on our weight. And by the way, since we've been off the ship, I've already lost 7 pounds. What about you?
I'm at 10 right now.
Yeah, so we're just back to eating normal, if you will. It wasn't like a carb-heavy meal, so it's
lots of green vegetables. I think we miss that a lot.
Yeah, so that is one of the biggest cons or drawbacks of living on a ship full-time.
And speaking about food and weight, how about health checkups? Now, there are typically doctors on board, but it's not your regular physician, one who's seen you over a long stretch of time and knows you personally. I know we have gone to some different places, like we got our teeth cleaned in Brazil and we got our teeth cleaned in the Philippines. So they do good jobs. They're just not your normal one. And yes, they do try to upsell you when you're not their regular customer. So you have to be careful about that as well.
There's just nothing beats knowing that he's going to his own personal cardiologist instead of someone who you're starting from scratch with. So your regular health checkups and just doctor visits in general, it's kind of a con to not have that easily accessible. And that leads us to the next con of living full-time on a cruise, and that's missing family, missing life events, birthdays or weddings or just any of those things. When you're so far away, it's complicated, and plane trips and just all the things that go with that. So missing family.
Yeah, and it's not cheap too. I know once you get halfway or 3/4 across the world, it becomes a logistical problem sometimes, and it all tied into money and how long you can actually sit on an airplane.
And the next one is strangers handling your unmentionables. When you're on a cruise ship and they do your laundry for you. A lot of people I'll do my own laundry. But it's really not that big of a deal. It's just the fact that someone's touching all of your laundry,
Socks go missing.
Oh, I won't talk about how many. I think I went through 4 pair of socks that I had to toss the other one. 4 times a sock was lost. These are all minor, trivial things, but it made our con list for traveling full-time.
And our next con is space. Living in 140 square feet, well, sometimes can become challenging.
Yes, we each get one closet and good luck with that.
Tight quarters.
Yeah, definitely tight quarters. Of course, you could book a big balcony suite where you don't have those issues. So yes, tight quarters, limited space, limited storage. You just have to be more of a minimalist. And sometimes we don't want to be minimalist, but it is what it is. Tight quarters, small space, living on a cruise ship. That lends itself to the same or the next con, limited privacy. Sure, there's some places you can find a quiet corner, but sometimes you just need a quiet, private space, and that's not always available.
How about loud neighbors? We've had some challenging neighbors, shall we say. And on some of the bigger ships where your doors are really tight, we've had the joy of having the McSlammers next door.
McSlammers. Every time they go in and out of the room,
Slam,
boom, the door slams.
Or how about the TV blaring? Have you had that one before?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below what your biggest pet peeve is about privacy and loudness from your room.
Yes, and just remember, no matter what time you're walking down that cruise ship hallway, don't have a conversation with somebody walking 10 feet behind you because we can all hear it. And if you're trying to take an afternoon nap or just sleep in the morning, people walking up and down very loudly, we try to don't talk in the hallway. It's just shh.
And our next con is something breaks. Then the repair timeline is not on you, it's up to the ship on when it gets fixed. And sometimes this can take a little too long.
If your air goes out in the States or even in Nicaragua, we pick up the phone and we call a repairman, and they usually come within the next day or two. Months and months go by and things not getting fixed. It's kind of uncomfortable, not really fair, especially because you feel like you're paying for a certain level of something and you're just not getting it. It's just, those things are challenging because you're in this space, even though you're paying for it, it's almost like a rental, and you need someone to come fix it, and you're on their timeline and kind of stuck. And that can be very difficult, especially when you're told it'll take a few months.
And that leads us into the next con, you're not in control. And that is sort of difficult for me. I think we're at the stage in life, and you may be too, is when something's not working right, you pick up the phone or you go get your toolbox and you fix it. So we don't leave anything broken in our households. And so that is really tough that we're not in control for that timeline to get things fixed.
And speaking of not in control, we don't get to pick where we're going next, or we don't get to pick how many sea days. So if a port gets canceled or 2 ports get canceled, you would think they'd give you new ports, but it turns into week-long sea days. And those things they're really out of your control and sometimes hard to deal with. So that's another big con of traveling full-time, especially on a cruise ship.
And our next con is the crew getting a little too comfortable with you.
Now, what we mean by that is we would get so comfortable, they would get so comfortable with us, especially waiters and waitresses, like in the main dining room. They would tell you the order for the night and they'd be like, don't order this, or I tried that and it's gross. Like even though I appreciated that, it was like, ooh, they probably shouldn't be saying that to us, but they're so comfortable with us. They're like, you know, felt comfortable doing that. One night we ordered a dessert and the waitress was like, you might not want to order that. And so we all ordered something different, and then she still brought it with 4 spoons. She's like, now you guys try it. And we all tried it and went, oh, she was right. So they just get really comfortable with you if you're there with them for a very long time. So probably a con. There's a little pro to that too, but you know, we put it on the con list.
And which brings us to our last con, and that is internet and Wi-Fi. Now, we were fortunate during this last year to be on Starlink, which was a great system. We've used it many times in the past in the United States and different places, and it has been flawless for us. And so in 2 countries, what we learned, Bonaire and Taiwan, those 2 specifically, do not allow Starlink to work. So therefore we had to go long periods of time without internet. Now we could use a cafe or a restaurant to get on the internet, but when you're making YouTube videos, it makes it incredibly difficult.
Yes, we try to be very consistent with our channel. We always have been, and I think the Taiwan one was the longest lapse. We did the best we could, but if you depend on that, especially for work, it can be difficult in some areas of the world, especially when the backup internet isn't really solid. Tell us what you think are the biggest pros and the biggest cons of traveling full-time, especially on a cruise ship. It was definitely my dream to be able to travel the world full-time on a cruise ship, but sometimes making lemonade on a daily basis can just become exhausting. Yeah, a grind. It was a lot, a muddle. So in the end, we followed our hearts and we moved on, and we will still continue to keep cruising because we love it, but maybe not full-time, on and off.
So we'd love to hear your comments about what your pros and cons would be.
And speaking of cruising, we have a lot of group cruises coming up. We've announced 2026 already, and all that information will be in the description below this video. And remember, we have a new travel partner, Maxi. Reach out to her, find out about all of our 2026 plans. And if you want to know about 2027, we already have that squared away as well. So you can also ask her about 2027 if you don't want to wait for our announcement, which we'll probably do in the next few videos.
If you're interested in one of our group cruises this spring, here they are.
For March 5th through the 19th of 2026, we are sailing out of Fort Lauderdale on the beautiful Sun Princess all the way over to Barcelona, with stops in Tenerife, the Canary Islands, Cartagena, Spain, Palma de Mallorca, and on to Barcelona. Our second cruise is on the MSC World Europa. We will leave Barcelona on March 19th and sail for a 7-day cruise. We'll visit Marseille, France, Genoa, Italy, Rome, Sicily, Valletta, Malta, Acide, and back to Barcelona. We're going to stay 2 nights on land in Barcelona, and we have some land excursions planned. And then on the 29th, we'll embark on the MSC Harmonia, Barcelona, Spain to Venice, Italy. During that cruise, we'll be visiting Rome, Sicily, Valletta, Sea, and Split, Croatia, and ending in Venice. Super excited. We've never been to Split, and I've heard it's one of the best ports ever. And then our last cruise, or cruise 4, will be Venice to Venice. We'll still be on the MSC Harmonia. We'll be visiting Dubrovnik, Croatia, Corfu, Greece, Kotor, Montenegro, Brindisi, Italy, Split, Croatia, and Venice, Italy.
If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider subscribing, commenting, sharing, all those things, and the big thumbs up that helps the channel out.
And a big thank you, as always, to those who gave through Super Chat or Buy Me a Coffee.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing.
Yes. We also announced our big bucket list item we're doing when we finish cruising next April. So if you missed the last video, make sure you head back and check that out. And we also went on the Guinness Book of World Records fastest elevator. So if you missed the previous one, get back over there and watch that.
And until next time, bye friends.